Good morning and welcome to a humble Highland home. I'm Menita and today I'm going to be putting in the supports for the peas and beans. Now I've used many different types of supports over the years in the various sizes of gardens that I've worked within, and some of them I'll be able to show you today. So my peas and beans are going to be going in the black section where I've got the ground covered over to keep the weeds down and also to warm up the soil. So my peas and beans will be going in about 2/3 of that row there. Now, as I've said in previous videos, this is the area where the polytunnel is going to go at the end of the year. So I don't want any permanent supports being fixed into these beds. So what I'm looking for is something that we'll be able to utilise this year and that's bigger than the supports that I have used in my previous gardens. Now, we're great believers in using what we have, so I've explained to Adam what I would like and what I need and the size that I need. So I'm hoping that Adam is going to be able to pull something together with materials that he's already got in the garage that we'll just be able to use for this year. So these are two of the supports that I used in my previous garden. They do feature in a couple of the videos that I've made previously of my previous garden, so I will tag them in the description below. So I had Mange 2 growing up both of these supports last year, and I quickly realised that they were not big enough for the Mange 2 because the Mange 2 just absolutely took off. I had such a good crop, I just couldn't keep up with it. So I wouldn't plant Mange 2 on these particular supports in future, but all I did was I planted the Mange 2 seeds at the base of these, and it didn't take them long to start growing up the supports. So I would recommend that these are good for something that's not going to grow quite as tall and doesn't need quite as much space. And what I also did one year was I had these a little distance apart, and I actually just strung string in between them. I had them anchored down just with some tent pegs, and I just put string in between them, and then I planted in the ground in between the supports, and I just trained the peas and the beans to go up the middle bit of the support, not the actual edge of the support. So that's another thing you could do. And this is another A-frame support that my dad actually made for me after I gave him a redesign of what I was looking for. And you can also see this in a previous video. And what I had done with this is I just strung string. I just weaved it across several layers, zigzagged it so there's plenty space, and then just put a support in between and just did that all the way down. So it was just a zigzag fashion all the way down, and that acted as a really good support with plenty of space, so you could have things growing up the side and in between, and that's really served me well last year. But it's not going to be enough space for this year because I do have quite a few things planted, and I would like to be able to save some of that seed and maybe freeze some of the peas for over winter. So I am going to need a bit more space this year. Now you can also make your own support. Now, as you can see, I've used this one before, and I've literally just pulled it out the ground and stored it. I could just take that off. So again, what you could do, and what I've used in the past as well, I've just got a couple of canes. You put the two canes together at the top and you just weave like a figure of 8 around just to secure it. And if you make several of those, and then what you can do with another cane is just thread that through along the top. Maybe if you have 4 or 6 of them, thread that through and then put your string in between, and that is your support. And another way is that you could just make a teepee like that, and then again figure of 8 around the top, some strings around the side, and that's another type of support. Now, another way that I've made supports in the past when I didn't have anything else available to me was I would just use branch trimmings. So once a tree or a shrub has been pruned, then I would have a look for the best ones, and then I would push the main branch into the ground, and I would have maybe 3 or 4 of those, and I would bend them over and tie them together, and that would act as a support. So it really is using what you have available to you, and I've used all of these methods over the years. There are many different structures that you can purchase, but you don't have to spend a lot of money. You can make your own. You just have to be a little bit inventive with the things that you've got. Now, I've been incredibly fortunate with the structures that I've showed you. My dad has either made or I've had gifted as birthday or Christmas gifts, because my friends and family know me incredibly well, and that's generally what I get, which I'm immensely grateful for. So the sun is out and has been drying off the black membrane that I've had over this row, and that's in preparation for the pea and bean supports that Adam is hopefully making in the garage just now. Wow, check this out that I found having a wee sleep under the black membrane. That is a slow worm. So that's our slow worm now moved on to its new adventures. So now I'm going to give this area just a little check over and pull out any volunteer weeds or volunteer plants that just happen to be there in preparation for the supports going in.
Let me out.
Adam's measuring up. That's part of the frame that he's going to be making for us. So I'm not quite sure how much you can see of that. So that'll be
1 length there.
2 lengths.
We've never done this before. We don't know what we're doing. We just make it up as we go along. But like most of the things around here.
But we do it so well.
Some people call it incompetence. We can call it inventiveness or creativity.
We like creative.
Right, let's go see what we can break.
Okay, so we need another 3 of those then.
Yes. It should be said, this is just material that we've got left over from a previous job that I did a few years ago. So it's not galvanised. It will corrode and rust eventually, but we'll just see how long it goes, how long it lasts, and take it from there. We've laid out the 2 sheets of mesh on the ground, back to back. We're going to use some cable ties to cable tie them together, so we get like a little tent. And then at each end we're going to use more cable ties to put our steel rods attached to them. And hopefully then, with the assistance of Menita, you can lift it up into place like a tent and it hopefully won't all fall down. I prefer not to use plastic cable ties, but they're kind of convenient for this, it's what we've got, so we're just going to do it. So, what we need to do, I'll get that in, you do this in, you pick it up in the middle. Now there's things we could do to make this a bit more robust if we had to, but I don't think we'll need to. We're very sheltered up here, so we'll see how it lasts. If we need to do something different next time, we will. Now you have to remember, I just build things. Menita's the horticultural expert in the house, so she tells me that this is only to do this year. Next year we'll be doing something different.
So that's my pea and bean support up for this year. So I'm going to look forward to getting my peas and beans planted out here. I will be planting some directly into the ground, and also the ones that I'd done in a previous video, I will be planting those once they have sprouted and I've got them hardened off once the frosts have passed. So I'm very happy that the garden is starting to look actually like a vegetable growing garden. But it just goes to show what you can do with a bit of focus and zoned in on specific areas to work them and to get them producing. And hopefully we will get a good crop of everything that I've been able to get in the ground this year. So watch this space as I continue to develop this garden into the kitchen garden at the Croft. But for now, thank you so much for joining me here today. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.